Good morning, America. How are ya? Monday Morning Rail. We'll be 500 miles before the day is done. I'm your native son. They call me the City of New Orleans. Hi, I'm Denny Jelsma, and I'm at the world famous Jacksonville Terminal Railroad Museum in beautiful Jacksonville, Florida, where the sun always shines and running trains is an absolute pleasure. It's Monday morning, and you know what we always do on Monday morning? You guessed it, we do show and tell. But before we go there, show and tell every Monday morning is brought to you by Jelsma Graphics, the people that make all the railroad embroidery, clothing, hats, shirts, jackets, with all your favorite railroad logos. Just like what you see here, we make custom logos. So when you need anything to do with the railroad embroidering, go to jelsma.com at Jelsma Graphics. And with all that being said, show and tell starts right now.
Hi, I'm Greg Turn, and we're back with the fourth and final installment of the freight operations of the Jacksonville Terminal Company. I'm sorry we had a little technical difficulty at the end of the third one. I'll finish my little story on the Jersey Central at the end of this one. But the main thing we're going to talk about today is the Swift Company. There are only 5 industries left on the layout, and Swift is the only one that had anything interesting about it. Now, Swift appeared on the list of industries served in 1957, but it was gone from the list in 1960. There was a bulletin issued on November 22nd of 1960, which said that the Swift and Company property has been leased to Montgomery Ward and Company, and the terminal company expects to begin to receive cars at this location within a few days. For those of you that don't remember Montgomery Ward, it was a contemporary of Sears and very much the same type of store. They had department stores and then a very large mail order catalog operation. Unfortunately, like Sears, they've been gone for a very long time. But at one time, the Montgomery Ward catalog coming in the mail was, again, one of those things that every kid went immediately to the toy section to see what the trains were for that year. There was a letter on November 25th, right after that bulletin, from J.F. Wassenfels, who said that there was some track work necessary before they could begin to use the property. Then on December 9th, there was another bulletin that again said that they are, gives us a little more information. It says Montgomery Ward is using the Swift Tracks warehouse to handle merchandise for a new store that they were building here in Jacksonville. At that time, they did not have any full-time employees at the site, and it gave the contact info as who you were supposed to call if you had cars to deliver there. There also was a note that there were 3 tracks inside the building. The middle track was not to be used due to the track conditions. And on the 9th, they did have a car, C&O number 3034, which was loaded with appliances for Montgomery Ward. Now, there was a letter on July 12th, 1962, that says, today, the terminal company received Norfolk and Western number 49398 installation billed to Insulation Contracting Company. And the terminal company had no information about who this company was or where they were located. So they contacted ACL, and they advised them that the car was to be placed at the old Swift plant. The terminal company contacted Insulation and told them that that concern owns Insulation Contracting, Florida Ice Machine, Patterson Cold Storage, and that they had bought the Swift property. The terminal company said they needed a switching agreement, which the Insulation Company agreed to provide tomorrow. The car was spotted. There was a little PS on the bottom, said the weeds on the track were about waist high, but they were able to spot the car, and they were needed to advise the Insulation Company that it is their responsibility to cut the weeds, and I guess that needed to be done before they were going to do any more. That's what we had on the Swift Company and its transition to a warehouse for Montgomery Ward, and then as a transition to a warehouse receiving insulation. As I said, the other 4 industries that we still showed didn't have really anything interesting to say, but I will point them out. The first one, which we have noted next to Swift, was Allstate Pipe Supply. Across the tracks, we'll see the loading platform for Machinery and Supply Corporation. In both cases, the warehouses for these organizations would be located in the aisles. All we show is a receiving yard or a loading dock. The last 2 industries we have are down at the other end of the layout. And that is the Security Feed Mills Company. They made Purina Pet Foods, and behind them, even though there's no sign there, that's Patterson Cold Storage. Now, if you notice, one thing that's kind of interesting about Patterson Cold Storage, as an older building, the doors are set up for 40-foot cars. So you could put 3 40-foot cars, each one at a loading door. But notice we have a 50-foot car there now. Once cars started to get a little bigger, you can only spot 2 50-footers because you simply don't have room. And that, I think, is... how much time are we at? Right about good? Okay. All right. Now, to finish my little story about the 175th anniversary of the Central Railroad of New Jersey, the Big Little Road. As I started off, its earliest predecessor was the Elizabethtown and Somerville Railroad, which was chartered in February 9th, 1831, to build a road between those 2 named towns. It was supposed to be the eastern end of a network of railroads planned to reach the Pennsylvania coal fields. Construction began in 1834. It was finished on January 1st, 1842. On February 26th, 1847, there was a charter issued for the Somerville and Eastern Railroad, which was to build from Somerville to the Delaware River, basically roughly opposite Easton, Pennsylvania. February 26th, 1849, the New Jersey legislature approved the purchase of the Somerville and Eastern, Somerville by the Elizabethtown and Somerville, and according to that legislation, the name was to be changed to the Central Railroad of New Jersey. The purchase was effected April 17th, 1849. The name change was backdated to April 1st, 1849 for accounting reasons, and that was the beginning of the Jersey Central. And C&J was, the remains of C&J was folded into Conrail on April 1st, 1976. But as I said, this would have been the 175th anniversary of the founding of that railroad. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Greg. That ends the 4 sessions on the industries that we have modeled here at the Jacksonville Terminal Railroad Museum. And we thank you very much, Greg, for all that information. We've gotten a lot of positive feedback, and we really appreciate all the viewers. And with that being said, that's the way it is at the world famous Jacksonville Terminal Railroad Museum in beautiful Jacksonville, Florida, where running trains is an absolute pleasure and peace and harmony.